Anyways, so let's just get started. So I start off with okay. Now this is item specific. Once again, I may post this on YouTube, maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. Which ELO am I? My one account is currently Diamond 3, 99 LP, and with like D2, D1 MMR, and the other one's D1 with like low Masters MMR. Anyways, so what are we doing here? So okay, now once again, all my settings got reset. So I was tampering with the settings for half the game, so that wasn't good. So that was bad. So anyways, I start off with Corruption Potion along with the Materializer. Now, once again, Materializer, very, very basic stuff. If you materialize 3 of the casters, you're going to be able to one-shot the wave once you get into a specific level, around level 8 or level 9, where you can just Q and the whole wave goes down. But once again, you can just find that from any other YouTube channel that, you go search up General TF Guide, you're going to know that, right? Now, another option in which I actually agree more with this option, but I didn't need it because the Vel'Koz was trolling, is Boots 4 pots, right? This is also an option that I can go. I actually prefer Corruption Potion, but I think Boots 4 pots is also a really good idea here because you're looking to dodge early on, like Vel'Koz's skill shots. Although Vel'Koz is not looking to hit you early on, he's looking to hit the wave because he wants to get the level 2 push, right? Although, as the lane evolves, we're gonna have Vel'Koz, or he's gonna start wanting to actually land skill shots on me to deteriorate my health, which then the boots actually do help a lot. And once again, if you go like Merc Treads against champions like Vel'Koz, champions like Cassiopeia, champions like Karthus, champions like Syndra, champions like this will be really, really beneficial, especially Merc Treads are just so good against champions like this. And if you're not confident in your laning, or if your versus a really good player, in which case I'm not, no hate on the guy, it's just, we really shouldn't have lost this game, right? But like, if your versus a very competent player, you can actually delay Roa and just get the Merc Treads before, just to sustain the lane and not completely get shit on. Because if you don't sustain the lane, then you don't get the CS for Roa anyway. So you can delay the damage on Roa and the tank stat that Roa provides to get the immediate insurance rate, and then that'll just it'll help the lane so much better, especially if there's a double AP top or AP jungler or whatever. It just makes the game so much easier for you. Anyways, let's just get started. We'll actually talk about the game. So once again, I make the opening, and the opening that I chose was away from the minions, and this is something that you guys already may have seen me say multiple times now. I'm actually gonna go ahead and open Twitch chat right here so you can just like, can I do this? Is that doable? Hold on. Let me play around with this for a second. Wait up. What if I just do this? I think I can just do that. I think that's okay. Yeah, anyways. So, moving on. So, well, then again, my camera's gonna not show it. So, actually, let's just make it full screen anyway. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, okay, so going back to the VOD, right? We open the lane in a very defensive angle in which I'm looking to double, triple red card the minion wave, right? The reason for this is I don't want to get immediately pushed in. I also know that Vel'Koz has a really, really good push against me. And because that's the case, I just simply cannot contest the wave because I don't have that in my kit, right? So I end up stepping away from the minions because I want to conserve my HP and I want to conserve my obviously I don't want Vel'Koz to hit the wave and get my health bar, because if he takes my health bar down, it just becomes a lot harder for me to lane against him, right? So I simply just concede the lane here. Lane comes into me, I throw the red card out. Once again, I can attack Vel'Koz in multiple directions. In this case, I can attack him through the mana pool, in which I can just constantly regen mana and he can't really address me in any way. Once again, all we're doing here is just autoing the wave. Now, I've acknowledged the fact that I can't do anything, and if you're Vel'Koz right now, you don't actually go away. You can move into me and look to get autos, because if I can simply tank this next minion, I'm gonna be allowed to take it because I have the I have Corruption Potion, right? But if you're Vel'Koz, move into me and deny this minion. Let the wave come into me and then tether around the radius of the tower. You have no reason to ward right now because you know where Lee Sin started. You know Lee Sin is not gonna immediately level 2 gank you, like, because you can just sustain the right hand side pocket, and even if he does from the left hand side pocket come, then your jungler is literally probably on Raptors. I'm actually not too sure where the enemy jungler started. I'm gonna go ahead and assume he started on the left hand side. No, he started on the right hand side. Yeah, so you can just simply take the right hand side pocket. So warding this early doesn't make a lot of sense, right? And This is something that a lot of mid laners, they do that, where they don't acknowledge when to simply back off. This is way too early. You have no reason to ward right now. Move in, force me to move back. Let get the wave reset, right? On top of that, let's say that this isn't level 1. Let's say this is like level 4 or level 5, and this next incoming wave is a lot closer to my tower. Well, if you just randomly leave, I can just lock the lane here. And if I end up locking the lane, you're now forced to reset the wave, because now you're playing the lane in a very awkward area in which you're now susceptible to a gank. So how do you do that? How do you kill the lane? Well, then you have to use abilities on the lane. And if you use abilities cost cooldowns, abilities cost mana. Now, if you're out of mana, I've successfully attacked your mana pool because I'm TF. Right? And on top of that, now that you've used cooldowns, I can move into you, right? Obviously, being cognizant of how the wave is, I can simply move into you. This is something that a lot of mid laners do. They simply just back off, and it's just a bad idea. Move into me here, harass me, abuse me. You have the range, you have the time, right? Obviously, I'm not gonna lock the lane because it's way too early to do that. So it doesn't really matter. And I concede the minion way. I actually end up missing a minion here for some reason. Blue card, everything is good. Auto once again, get the minion, everything is good. And now Vel'Koz is back, and I know that he's warded on the left-hand side. But this is not that good now, because now his ward is on cooldown, and by the time Lee Sin is back on the right-hand side, which in this case his jungler will be on the left-hand side, I can just simply take pockets inside of the lane to force him onto the right-hand side if he's a bad player, which will then put him susceptible to a very easy gank, especially with the fact that I think he's running barrier or something. I don't even know why he didn't run cleanse against this matchup, but it's like whatever. And now, once again, I actually make a pretty vital mistake. I should have just moved into the lane. I should have been actively autoing. I don't know why I'm so afraid. I don't have no reason to be afraid. Vel'Koz has no abilities to hit me. Notice how I'm just moving back for absolutely no reason. And I don't really know why. Look how scared I am. Look at my clicks. Look all the way back. Look how far away I am. Why don't I just go in? Move in. Auto, auto, auto. If he hits the E on me, okay, great. I get the minion push on you. You've now lost level 2. Perfect. So you have no other option but to hit the wave. So why am I so afraid? I don't really know what I was doing here, but now that looking back at it, that's really bad. I should have just been actively autoing these minions. Red card, red card, red card, back up for level 2, because I'm not going to get level 2 on him because he has the minion push on me. And then just constantly keep farming out the lane, right? You have to know when you can go in and when you need to back off, right? And this comes back with knowing what the enemy's potential is, essentially, right? And he uses the ability here, which I actually, once again, a pretty fatal error by me. I thought that the red card would actually bounce onto him, but it didn't seem like it did. All I had to do is walk up to him now, because I know he's on cooldown. He just used Q, he just used E. Why don't I walk into him, threaten the card, and then simply just like Q? Well, I won't have it up actually, that's also true. No, I could still go in. I don't actually need level 2. I can just go in. Even though he's level 1, I can move into him at level 1 and just give him a card and then back up. I've already conceded the push anyway. It doesn't matter at this point, right? And I have corruption stacks. I'm in no fear of getting a little bit chunked out as he tries to tether around my tower. It's totally fine. So here I should have actually just attacked his HP, and then that would have potentially let Lee Sin have a much more easier opportunity to gank. So once again, a very minor issue by me in my laning, which I probably could have fixed, right? His E is back up, completely misses, and now, as you know, his Q is back up, and he misses the Q. And now I don't move into him because there's no reason to, right? If I move into him, I'll die to these minions. Well, I won't die, but I'll take a really lethal trade. So I just concede the lane, essentially, right? So I let the lane come into me. Once again, a big mistake by me. I end up queuing. My wild card ends up destroying the HP of these minions, and now it's really awkward. Now, maybe I can get an auto on this. I don't even know how I'm gonna CS this. So I think I just missed like all these minions, except obviously one, because I'm gonna get this one. Yeah, actually, no, I lose it. So I lose both minions, and this comes back with using abilities on the wave when you know you've conceded the lane, right? This is something that, again, a lot of low elo mid laners do. Do not skew the HP of these minions by using abilities on it, because you're gonna lose minions now. Look how I do. I blue card, and then for some reason, instead of autoing with the fear of me losing, I should have just conceded the minion. And if I concede this one minion, I end up getting all 3 of them. But instead what happens is I concede, I get this one minion, and then I completely screw up the HP of the other minions. Alternatively, one thing I could have done, which would have been a little bit better, and it's a lot more ideal, is line up my wild cards so that they don't actually hit. But that's kind of hard to do unless I walk over here and then card like this, which I probably could have gotten away with that. But once again, the biggest takeaway here is as the lane is coming into you, you should know when to concede the lane. It's essentially knowing up when to give up the push, right? Like you can't. Sometimes you just cannot push against the enemy. It's just not possible, right? And this is this is very prevalent in like matchups like, you know, Talon or Talon versus Talia, or this is a random matchup I'm, you know, thinking of off the top of my head. Fizz versus TF. Once again, like you cannot push the lane, so concede the lane, right? Concede the wave. Anyway, so I screw up the minion HP, and now it's really awkward for me, so I'm attempting to CS it, and then Vel'Koz, once again, should not be so far up. Should just look to tether. Even if I do auto him, what ends up happening, I don't get the last hit on these minion. This minion jumps on me, he still has his ability up, and I'm in trouble now. I just used Q, right? So then that doesn't end up happening, and letting you guys know, I mean, we're both making a lot of mistakes. This is essentially a master lane, right? This is a master player versus another master player. And once again here, Vel'Koz pushes. I'm going to match with the red card. Instead, I end up matching with the blue card, which is, once again, incorrect. What I want to do now is constantly keep up the push so I don't fall too behind in XP. Not XP, sorry, but minions as they come into my tower. Because if I just keep letting him push me in, I'm going to end up losing HP because he'll just keep tethering around the tower. So here, I'm looking to red card, looking to push the wave back, although I won't actually get the full push on him. At least I can just, you know, survive a little bit. And not get like completely chunked out as the wave comes into me. I wild card. The red card was a little bit odd. I end up dodging, and notice how I'm dodging. Look at the way my mouse is moving when the Q actually comes out. My mouse is not far away from my champion. Look how close it is to my champion. It's right there, right here. Well, like this is relatively close, and this is exactly what you want to be doing. Maybe even closer. Right? A lot of mid laners, they're clicking like all the way here, or they're clicking all the way here, and then they end up getting hit by it. And this is essentially how you dodge in higher MMR, where you have to simply just like, you know, like click close to your champion so your champion avatar reacts quickly. And we're back now. I wildcard, and this lane is just going so badly for me right now because I'm just setting up the minions so poorly. And then I lose that minion too. Oh, I actually get both minions. Nice. And now, once again, I know Vel'Koz's next move. I know he's going to push the wave because that's what he's been doing. So what am I going to do? Here, I should just red card. I red card here. He ends up moving away from the minions. And this is actually something really subtle that Vel'Koz does, and I don't know if he did it on purpose. But Vel'Koz knows the red card is coming out. If he moves away from the minions, these minions don't take AoE, in which then he gets to shove on me constantly. So now what ends up happening to me is the wave comes into me. Although, yes, Vel'Koz loses the HP, and obviously he's using the mana because he's like spam happy with his Q. I actually don't get the push. Alright, so now it's kind of odd for me at this point. But it's okay. We keep playing the lane out. Let's see what happens next. So, I don't remember how I actually played the lane out. I know I lost the game, but I don't really know what happened after that. Or like the specifics. I end up getting this CS, and then these minions are set really nicely for me, and all I gotta do is just farm them. And if you're Vel'Koz, get the ward and tether, right? And now we were talking about the early vision that Vel'Koz actually ended up putting on the you know, on the left hand side, like the ward over here. All I need to do at this point is I know Vel'Koz has no vision on the right hand side, so if I just move in like this, it's very easy gank for Lee Sin, although it could be countered if Kha'Zix is on the left-hand side, in which then I will die, right? So I end up pinging. I Q the wave because I know this is happening. This is really good for me, where he just completely butchers by moving into my minion wave like that. I don't know why, but I end up getting a really good trade here. And now at this point, notice the pocket I'm taking. I take the left-hand side pocket. Now, as I'm doing this, there is a little bit of danger involved with it, right? And the danger is essentially Kha'Zix started on the right-hand side. Kha'Zix will now end his clear on the left-hand side, which I'm now susceptible to a gank because if I don't have vision, it's dark. This is a weak lane. This is a weak pocket. But at the same time, it's a strong pocket because if I can just get the gold card, this guy dies. And the reason I take the pocket on the left side is it forces the enemy to now move down to the south side, in which is in close proximity to my jungler. And notice what happens with Lee Sin now. I know we get the gank off. So I get the gold card off. I got the Q, I got the auto, I get the ignite, and Lee Sin just finishes it off. We get a very easy kill. And now I have a pretty big decision to make. This is a mistake. I don't ever stay for plating. I should just take the recall here and get the catalyst, but instead I agreed for another wave, and this is kind of odd because now once again this is a mistake on my part because I actually screwed up recall timings. Now Vel'Koz just came out of base, like he's gonna be out in like a second or two, and if I push this wave in which I don't fully have the mana for, and I really don't want to use my what do you call it? What is this thing? Minion materializer, dematerializer on the cannon because I need to get the 3 casters thinned out. I actually lose tempo because by the time I'm recalled, Vel'Koz is now at tier 2. By the time I'm in base, Vel'Koz is now at his initial tower. Now the next incoming wave is here. Vel'Koz now shoves this wave. Perfect. Now I actually end up losing a wave even though I got a solo kill. And now by the time I'm back into the lane, the wave actually pushes back into Vel'Koz. And now the Vel'Koz who has no flash is basically safe for a brief time until I can reset the wave. And we've already talked about how my wave clear cannot match Vel'Koz's wave clear. So if the minions do end up RNGing to the point where he actually does end up getting a freeze anywhere on this blue area here, all he needs to do is, obviously this is also the time when blue buff will come up. Yeah, in which then if Dom ends up giving the second blue, he can simply just match my wave clear around this area, right? And it's just really difficult for me then to break the freeze. And then I become really susceptible to ganks. He actually also is running teleport. I didn't even notice. And here, this is just a big mistake. I see the jungler. I don't know what he's doing. And then I'm like, oh, you know, we could fight. Let's fight. And then I didn't realize that Vel'Koz, I don't know what this is me being really troll. And then my jungler goes in, follows up with me for some reason. Vel'Koz ends up dying. Here, I try to kill, I will dominate, but I can't kill him. And I just die. This was a really big troll on my part where I don't know what the hell I'm thinking. I just know Vel'Koz came off of a recall, right? He teleported back. And all I needed to do is just recall myself. Lee Sin's not gonna die to Kha'Zix, right? It's not possible. But what ends up happening is we give Vel'Koz a double kill. And this is where the lane entirely changes. Where I initially got a kill on him, I had tempo inside of the lane, and now I've given all of that up because I greeted for an extra minion wave. Now, the issue here was I wasn't reading that this wave right here was a cannon wave. One thing you need to be doing as a mid laner after you get the solo kill is evaluate your situation and then respond to it immediately. Had I just realized this is a cannon wave, I would have immediately taken the recall and had returned to a very nice lane state in which the enemy has no flash. I have flash, by the way, and all I need to do at that point is flash gold card on the enemy and he just instantly dies. It is just over because now I'll be essentially 2-0 on the enemy Vel'Koz and I'm going to be close to level 6. I then just constantly keep shoving the wave in because by the time I have 3 points in Q, I can really just hard shove the wave and Vel'Koz cannot immediately match my clear because now I'm going to be playing the mana game against him. And then I have the mana advantage in which I actually now have turned the table with respects to who can push the minion wave quicker. Now I push the wave and I constantly look for Destiny teleports on my side lanes and we just win the game. It's just that easy, right? Obviously it's not that easy, but it's from a basic perspective, from a very broad perspective, it really is that easy. But I end up just screwing up the entire lane. All of my game plan just completely crumbles because I just don't notice the fact that, you know, it was a cannon wave. And I end up picking this really stupid fight in the jungle in which I end up dying, giving Vel'Koz a double kill, and now giving him a very good lane state because now he pushes the wave in. The wave now bounces back into him because we know the next incoming wave is going to actually clash, which in then turn basically means the next wave that spawns out of the Nexus moves into Vel'Koz's tower. And now I'm like totally screwed, right? Although I do have flash, so it's not the end of the world. And then I kind of rage. I kind of like got really tilted here, but you know, we don't tell. Anyway, so we're back in the lane. Everyone is happy. And now at this point, I'm level 5, right? Now I would actually argue that I should probably not hard push the lane and slow push it. And the reason I want to slow push it is because I need to maximize the amount of time. Once again, this is another mistake actually. I need to maximize the amount of time I spend in this vicinity. because I'm not level 6 yet. Yes, I do have 3 points in Q, but that doesn't mean push endlessly, right? If I can just build up a potential minion wave, because Vel'Koz ended up taking a recall for some reason, I don't know why. Did he? Did he take a recall? Let me go back. Let me go ahead and backtrack and just see actually what happened. So Vel'Koz, he gets the kill on me, and then yeah, so he pushes the wave. Yeah, so he pushes the wave and then gets a recall. So if I can just slow push the wave, and then potentially build the next wave, I can just throw it into him and then leave the lane, right? I just want to spend a lot of time here, and if the jungler then comes and chunks me out, now what ends up happening to the lane is I'm forced to play the lane over here while I don't fully have the lane pushed out. And then I'm actually screwed because Vel'Koz now hits level 6 on me. He hits level 6 on me anyway because he got 2 kills and I think he got the extra XP. But it's just really sad, in which now I'm delayed level 6, and that's the last thing you want to do as a TF player, right? So I end up pushing the wave again, whatever. And now, as you can see, Vel'Koz will hit 6, and he has a blue buff. So he hits 6, and I actually end up walking in. Once again, a very big mistake by me. And it ends up working because he doesn't know any better. But the fact that I walk in to get these 2 minions, he actually, what do you call it, could have just E'd me. W'd me, knocked me up, and then I would have been, like, pretty much dead. Because Lee Sin is not that close to the point where he'll just immediately help me out, right? And then even if Lee Sin does come, I'm useless. I can't help him, right? Now, I think the only reason I believe this player does end up backing off is because he assumes that this movement right here is because of the jungle gank. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that he has no vision on the left-hand side. But if you're a better mid laner, right, and I'm not going to, obviously not hating on the player on Versus, I think he's a really good Vel'Koz player. Not the best, but he's pretty decent. If you have vision on the left-hand side, and you see a movement like this, kill me. Don't just stall it out, right? Because you can still 100 to 0 me at this point. And it seems like that's exactly what he does because of the pocket he takes. But he doesn't actually have vision of me. So it doesn't make any sense as to why he didn't just move into me and get the level 6 kill on me. So it's really weird. And now I get lucky. So if you notice a lot of things, laning in general, and this will obviously correlate to top and bot lane, a lot of it is punishing errors, right? Making plays is one thing, but you can only make plays if you punish errors. And what defines a challenger, right, versus a, I don't know, gold or a plat player is the fact or the ability to locate openings, or the ability to understand situations in which you hold an advantage in, and then punish those situations. Because eventually the challenger will go 1-0. Okay, now he's 2-0. Another opening by the gold plat player. Now he's 3-0. Now he's 4-0. Now, by the time the challenger is like 7-0, it's not that he's super amazing. Well, he is because he's challenger, but it's not because he's like, you know, what makes him a challenger is the fact that he was able to find these openings. And now, yes, he's gonna one-shot you, obviously. You know, if you just like, on whatever champion, if any champion is 7-0 against the enemy laner, you're probably gonna get destroyed. So that's essentially what deciphers a challenger player versus a gold plat player, right? Obviously, there's other differences, but the biggest takeaway to take here, I guess in a way, is what makes a high MMR player is the ability to find openings, right? And this is just another opening. And once again, he's low mid masters, right? This is once again low mid masters MMR. So I take the Q, and he ends up just, oh wait, I actually remember this. Fuck, yeah, this is bad. So this is me greeting like an idiot. Now, once again, another error by me. I'm not tracking Kha'Zix's jungle routes, and this is something that is very difficult to do. I'm gonna be real with you. This is very hard to do. But I don't believe that Dominate is good enough of a jungler who would actually end up mind gaming me, to the point where I would just not see this coming had I just actually tracked him inside of the jungle, right? And it doesn't even have to be like this jungler, right? It could be any jungler, right? It could be like any, and it's going to be more towards NA and EU junglers. NA and EU junglers are very easy to read. Junglers who are in Korea or China or other like Eastern, hold on, I gotta reply to this. Junglers who are like elsewhere they're not as easy to read, right? Because they're essentially a little bit better, right? Especially up in like, I'm talking like challenger, not like low masters. Even the low masters are relatively, you know, readable. But yeah, like, had I just tracked the fact that he's on the right-hand side, I wouldn't have invested everything into this. And then I wouldn't have flashed in. Because had I just seen him, I would have saved my flash and the gold card for a potential Kha'Zix attack. But I don't do that. And then I end up taking another very lethal, I end up trying to kill him, and now he's on a killing spree. And now I'm just like fucking omega tilted, right? Come back into the lane. I don't know what he's doing here, but let's just see that one more time. What's he doing? Yeah, all right. So I ignite him. I know he's dead. Gold or blue card, and here he just, yeah, okay. Well, that happens. Anyway, so I don't know what he's doing here, but it doesn't matter. So I end up, now it's at the point where I'm level 6, and I'm not looking to manipulate the wave. I need to shove the lane. I need to go into the fog of war. I need to create pressure. I need to look for destinies. That's all I have to do. End up picking a very easy kill on Nautilus here. Very, very, very simple kill. Go back into mid. Everything is good. I'm pretty fed this game, although my CS is like not the best, even though Vel'Koz's CS wasn't that high up anyway. So it wasn't the end of the world. And now I'm just like pushing the lane, waiting for blue buff. If you notice, once again, my mouse movements very close to my champion as I wait for the skill shot to come out, right? So E comes out, I end up dodging it. Right, well, I think I get hit by the comet, but like that's okay. I end up red carding, and I'm just constantly looking to shove. And I actually really misplay the push here, because had I materialized the 3 casters, I would have had a real nicer time, like a lot easier time getting the push onto Vel'Koz. And then I wouldn't have this weird HP on the minions, right? So this is once again just an error on my part. Triple minion with the red card, and I just back up. I don't know what I'm doing now. Yeah, I'm just like looking at Roa here. So I'm waiting for Roa. And I was looking to recall because it is a cannon wave, but I realized I don't want to really sell Corruption Pot, and I don't want to sell my ward. So I'm just going to go ahead and stay, right? Especially with the fact that I think maybe top lane's going to bounce back, because Swain oh wait, Swain's going to recall. Yeah, I probably should have maybe recalled here, maybe. I don't know. It's not a big deal though. It's very minor. So here, I thought he was handing off my blue buff until I saw this happen. And now we end up just losing because the enemy team collapses quicker than us. And as you can see, we're just really losing momentum inside of the game now. And all I'm doing is just constantly look to push. And then as Lee Sin comes into my lane, this is a really good play by Lee Sin, by the way, what he does here. So he ends up moving in front of Vel'Koz. And once again, Vel'Koz is not reading the situation at all, where I move aggressively, but he moves into me. Why on earth would I ever just ignore the minions, know that he has still his E up, and his W, right? And then I move into him for no reason. But then he doesn't read that, so he moves back into me. In which then the enemy, my jungler just comes in behind him, and I think just gives him a, no, actually he doesn't even, he just Qs him, yeah. So he ends up dying. And we got another really easy kill on the enemy, and everything is going really well. But as you can see, I'm losing I'm not doing that well in the lane, even though I have a decent amount of kills, right? This is just coming back into the fact that, I'm not playing the lane optimally, but you don't have to be like perfect. You can be like, you can be good and you can still like do well, right? Kha'Zix trolls again. We end up getting the kill. Everything is good, and now I don't know. We're just kind of waiting, right? Anyway, so yep, and that's essentially how the lane is played out. I'm level 9 now. I end up getting another kill on him because Lee Sin makes a really nice play here. Gold card, auto, Kai'Sa comes in. Oh man, I die. Yep, Kai'Sa comes in. Now, this is a mistake. Now, this is very, very, not really a fundamental mistake, but I didn't read the map in time. Bot lane just fell. The next objective is on the left-hand side. If you're a good jungler, you should be expecting the enemy to then lane swap. Once again, if you're playing in low MMR, don't. But if you are playing in high ELO, if you're like a like a D2 D1 master, whatever, midlaner, then the wave is like bot and top are gonna go into the top lane. This unfortunately kind of tripped me out because I saw Camille up in top lane, and I'm like, okay, why would Camille not lane swap? That means bot lane is still bot lane probably. In which then I'm just gonna I don't have anything to worry about. So I didn't actually expect Kai'Sa to come here, but I didn't realize that because we're playing in NA, Camille isn't going to read waves properly, so she's not actually going to be able to catch the bot lane, thus giving our bot lane essentially 300 gold because they just take free plates or whatever, right? And then Kai'Sa comes and kills me. But if you are playing in high MMR, you should expect the lane swap, and then you should expect pressure to be shifted back on the left-hand side of the map, in which then you should be aware of any potential 1v1s becoming 2v2s or 3v3s even, okay? Anyways, that is it for the VOD, and I mean, we're just losing the game at this point. Like, there's not much to say. And I forfeit, because it's like, it's pointless to really try, you know, at this point. So we forfeit, and then we just end up losing the game. But the main things to take away is that you can make a lot of mistakes, even in high ELO. There's so many mistakes being made, and what deciphers a challenger, and what deciphers, you know, it's just a random master or low, you know, challenger mid laner, are these mistakes. And a higher level player, professional, or, you know, like a consistent seasonal top challenger, will find these mistakes, and that's what makes them top of the ladder versus, you know, players who may not be. Okay? Anyways, that is it for the VOD. I will post this on YouTube, and we can move on to